Hi, it's Julian. Welcome back. Great to have you on day 7 of week 1. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about what comes next as we move through our exercises. But the principles that we're missing, that we'll come to in the next weeks: stability, mobility, breathing, and body awareness. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the rest of the principles that we'll go through for the coming weeks. And these are breathing, mobility, stability, and body awareness. And then there's the 7th one, trying to have a bit of fun while you do this so it isn't a chore. So let's go into our start-off exercise, this hip roll stretch. So glue the knees and the ankles together. We're going to do it slow. We're going to make sure our pelvis and our ribcage are aligned, everything's heavy into the mat. And I'm going to show you the breathing. So generally, if we go into a twist or a forward, if we're emptying our lungs, it can make that a lot easier to achieve. And let's do one more on each side. So that's one of our principles of breathing. Using our exhale breathing to create space within our body. But that's not the only thing about breathing. Sometimes we want to breathe in to create more stability. Now it depends how we're moving, and it depends movement's position. It depends how we're moving and the start position of the movement. So it's complicated. Sometimes you want to breathe out and free up that movement. Sometimes you want to be breathing in and creating more stability. And in the next week, we'll be showing you that. There's also another critical thing about breathing, and that it's moving your ribs. So it can alter your alignment because those ribs are attached to your spine. And it means that the ribs can lift or drop and throw you out of alignment. There's a third element to breathing as well, and that is your diaphragm. Internally from the bottom of your ribs right the way down through to your pelvic floor, that's a cylinder. And your diaphragm drops down when your lungs fill, and then it lifts up as you breathe out. Now that in itself can create mobility or stability within the body too. So in the next week, we'll be showing you how to use those, how to control those, not only to help you move more freer, but also to help your alignment and to improve stability from where you're moving from. Which leads us to mobility. So, what is mobility? Well, we talked very early on. So, what is mobility? So, very early on, I think we talked about various movements that we have that can cause us to have back pain. And this is one of them. So let's do floating arms forward. Just bring your arms on your knee and lift it up. Now, what I want you to do is video this so that you can start to detect any movements in the trunk of the body, the ribs or the lower back, that's occurring because you're lifting your arm. Because quite often what we see when someone gets here is this. And what that is a lack of mobility in the shoulder. It's stiff or it's tight for whatever reason. Sometimes it's tight in the front, sometimes it's tight there. And unless you address those mobility issues, you're going to continue to have back pain because you're not aware of it. And we need to stretch out those joints so that we lose that. And this is one of the exercises that we do for shoulders. So let's breathe into prayer, exhale, lifting up and bringing back the hands to the floor behind you. Exhale to bring them back. Now I'm in good alignment here. My pelvis is horizontal. My rib cage is down. I'm heavy into the mat, pelvis, ribs and head, so that I'm freely moving from the shoulder. So we have quite a few exercises like this that help for small impingements or small areas of tightness on the shoulders, but for more drastic ones, particularly where there's injuries involved, we'll be going through those, particularly for the shoulders. And then the number one area for tucking the pelvis underneath, tightness in the hips or the hamstrings. So for our next one, we'll be talking about stability. So we're going to get you to sit up, bum down on the floor, nice and tall, through the head, and we're going to load the side by lifting the arm up to the side. Now, what we're doing here is we're exercising our trunk muscles, particularly our spinal and our neck muscles, by keeping them completely still. And what stability is about is forming a platform from which we can do harder movements. Why is this a harder movement? Because it automatically alters our center of gravity. And we'll want to do things like this instead of keeping stable right the way through. So let's keep going on this one. Just feel through your body where this is weak. Some of you will be wanting to curl out your spine. Some of you, your shoulders will be getting tired. Some of you, your ribs might be lifting, or you might be starting to rotate through the rib cage. So through the coming weeks on the program, we'll be using this to promote stability. And then we come to the last principle, and again, I want you to video this. Remember, we've had 2 target exercises, and we're going to do those now. So the first one is cat. And here we're looking at body awareness. And the body awareness is, am I keeping my head still while I move my spine? So look back on your old video, take a deep breath, exhale, tuck that pelvis underneath. Let's see if you're keeping everything still until it says turn to move. And then nod the head at the end, and then squeeze the glutes and bring those back. Let's do this 4 more times. So how has that body awareness improved? Can you do this without moving your head until it's time to move? And what are the strategies that we can use to further improve your body awareness so we can apply that information to things like when you're sitting at your desk, when you're driving, when you're looking at your cell phone, when you're doing those things that perhaps trigger the back pain in the first place. And that is what body awareness is all about. We leave the most valuable part to the end. Once you've learned the physical skills, we start talking about mental skills to not irritate that back, We talk about mental skills to not irritate that back and be aware of your body once you have those physical skills to reduce and for some of you eliminate that back pain. Now we've got one more target, which is tabletop or Superman, depending on who you talk to, is what it's named. And this is a really hard one for body awareness, because what we want to achieve is this shape here. Our arms are up, everything is a straight line, but you can see that it's loaded to try and twist you, particularly through the hips, because the legs are nice and heavy, and there's nothing to stabilize you through the hands. So have a look on the video, see if your hips are twisting up like that, or your legs coming up too high. And see if you've improved through the week so that you can maintain that nice straight line, which is a combination of your body awareness, the stability on what is in contact with the ground, the mobility through the joints. Is the shoulder now free enough to move? Are the hips free enough to move, not to move out the pelvis? Your breathing at the highest point of exertion, being able to stabilize that, and your alignment coming from slow practice. So that is what the next 5 weeks are about. I'm hoping you're going to join me. I'm hoping you've had a lot of value out of the last 7 days. If you don't, keep practicing, monitor yourself, and hopefully I'll see you for week 2. Keep practicing, monitor yourself, monitor your body, monitor your pain, see if you're feeling better, and hopefully I will see you on week 2. That is what we cover in the subsequent weeks. So hopefully you're feeling a bit better, you're starting to improve those physical skills, and you've felt a reduction in pain, maybe even an increase in energy. Hopefully I'll see you for week 2. Thank you for joining me. Goodbye.